Welcome to the listeners. This is going to be the fifth episode on Talking Music. Today we have with us a talented musician from Syria. He has released an album under the title band AMBROTYPE. He has another album on the way. He has recently also released an album with a progressive rock band, Perfect Storm. And soon another EP with another band, this time from Canada, DEREV. Today we have with us the talented vocalist and guitar player, Adel Saflou. Hello, Adel.
Hello, hello, hello.
Nice to see you. Nice to have you here. And I hope you're ready for this long talk.
Yeah, I'm ready. Always. Love talking.
Okay. So just for the listeners, Adel is a multi-talented person who has a very nice voice. I guess they just saw you singing a cover of Opeth. Also, you have a good skills on the guitar. I'm not sure what to call you, a vocalist, a guitar player. You seem to be in both. I will go through the journey with you. Let me start when you started. When was the first time you got into rock music and later metal music?
Earliest memory, you mean? Well, my earliest memory is rocking out on Bon Jovi. I had by mistake found a Bon Jovi record by going to the guy of the cassette store. You know, we had cassette stores, and just asked him like, "What is the loudest music you have?" And like other than folk and Ali Dik music. And he just gave me that Bon Jovi, but he's like, "Be careful" or something. Like I had to be careful. But then, like I was like, when the moment I put it on, it really changed. I think that was, to me, the first ever rock kind of experience, or like really heavy kind of guitar riffing and stuff like that. And before that, I was listening to Backstreet Boys and Avril Lavigne and really embarrassing stuff. So
Bon Jovi was the first introduction to rock, right? Can you guess the year? Almost the year?
Don't really know. Really early. As early, like you can guess the year by knowing that I used to come back from school, put it on, and start jumping on the bed. So that early. So,
okay.
Yeah, I don't do that anymore. But
when was the first metal band that you listened to? Do you remember what was your favorite first metal band that you started to play or to listen?
It was well, Opeth, of course, Metallica. I listened to a lot of Dream Theater, Camelot. They have an album called The Halo, I think. But that's a really great album. I still listen to it from time to time. Really love their old singer, and yeah, those kinds of bands, you know, I kind of, to me, it was like I just listened a little bit to Creed early, but that's not metal. That's really like girly rock.
Yeah.
But that's it. I mean, once I knew Opeth, there was Tumera, a band called Tumera, and then they had a song called Blood, Tumera, Blood something. And then there is Ivol Morena. That is a really early metal band. Behemoth. I used to listen to a lot of Behemoth.
Okay.
Sacrilegious kind of music.
So going from Bon Jovi to Behemoth, like from here to there, right?
Yeah. Like My Funeral. I used to listen to My Funeral. Really trashy black metal.
Okay.
Dirty black metal. Backstreet Boys. Everything is good. Everything gives you a feeling. You know, if it gives you a nice certain kind of vibe. Yeah. Then it's doing something. It's art. That's what art is supposed to do, you know. So it's supposed to make you feel something, right? Something different, or make time stop for you. If it does that, then it's doing a great job.
So it diversified the style you listen to, the music you listen to from all ranges.
Yeah. Everything from brutal death metal to whatever soft pop. you know.
And how did you join the music? By singing first, or you started playing
Well,
instrument?
I used to love to sing a lot when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Always got compliments and got really shy and stuff like that. I
But
used to sing like the cartoon kind of music on the cartoon channel. But I also used to sing a lot of Arabic music in my early years. A lot of like from Arabic singers. They actually you have a lot of really good ones that sing really hard, difficult stuff to figure out. You know.
like whom?
I don't know. You have Milham Zain in your
In Lebanon?
in Lebanon, yeah, in your country, and then you have the Tafkit to you. What's it called?
I'm not gonna be able to help you here. But anyway,
yeah,
so
but
yeah.
all kinds of Amr Diab. I still love Amr Diab. I mean, Sabir Rubai. Sometimes really cheesy stuff, but this has nothing to do with. But they are, whether you like it or not, they're really good
Singers.
You know.
So you started, yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
And they have pretty good music. I mean, a lot of really good composers worked on their music and to make it like accessible, and it has been, you know, so throughout the years, at least in the past when I used to listen to them. Now I really completely disconnected from them, as I've disconnected from a lot of genres. I think to me it becomes like I really get attached to one genre. I identify with it so much. Like I become a metalhead. I am really like you know, like I'm drinking metal, molten metal, you know. I'm living it. I'm eating you know, just like raw rabbits or something, you know.
Yeah.
And then it's oh yeah, okay, I've experienced everything. I've really dived into that and gone through the other way, you know, like you know,
yeah.
I've dived into the sea.
So you crossed through that baptism of a metalhead kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess so. I took what feeling it gave me. I just really experienced that to the fullest, I guess, with the metal or pop or whatever it is. So, but now I still really appreciate it and I still really love it. I have that in my DNA, I guess. All of those things in my subconscious, whatever you want to call it. But there is much more to experience, I guess. You know, music is a really like, now on Spotify you have 60,000 songs being uploaded a day. That's one song a second every day.
And how much are you expected to listen to per day? 6?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess so. Sometimes more, sometimes less. I don't know. If I discover a good artist, then I'm listening to his album, like all his albums, the whole discography and everything he's ever done with everyone for the entire day, you know, like every day.
So you do go into those like investigation dives, like curiosity, check all the music.
No, it's not. It's a kind of an addiction. You want to hear every single fart this guy has made on everything, you know.
Yeah.
Everything, single recorded thing, you know. So it's not. I don't know what to call it. It really makes you feel good, you know, like. Gives you a nice kind of vibe once you get it out of someone, out of an artist. Then that's it, you know, you're good. And that doesn't happen so often for me, to be honest. Last time it happened, which was really recently, two times actually. It was the last time was with David Crosby. I don't know if you know him. Is really he was with the Birds, and he sang with Crosby, Stills and Nash.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Nash and Young, but he has his own project, and David Crosby. But that is like gold. I struck a gold mine when I started listening to him, and he influenced Mikael Åkerfeldt of Opeth to write harmonies for the Pale Communion album. Okay,
he's mostly a jazz singer, right?
He folk kind of, you can say folkish, jazzish kind of singer, but I can't really put him in any box. And those are the kinds of artists I like, you know.
Yeah.
Jacob Collier, for example. I've known him for a long time, but once I started seeing him going through his production, going through all the tracks that he recorded and how many tracks it has, his project, and how many times his 28 core computer freezes while he's showing the tracks, then I really started appreciating it and hearing all the different sounds and all the different little blip here and little touch here, whatever, how he makes them really creative.
So you go into a lot of details, you look for details, I guess, in the music you listen to.
That's the beauty in it, I guess, as well as just laying back and listening to the whole song coming to you as one sound, like a kid, you know, being bombarded. I remember when I used to listen to like Metallica or whatever in my teenage years. I used to like just not even know what the drums is or what the guitar is or what the bass is. I used to listen to the whole sound as one chunk. It's coming in at me. It's a really powerful kind of do you know, one thing makes me want to move. I had no idea how the hell anything was made like that, you know, until I started going more into music and more into different instruments and production, that my perspective completely changed. And that's
what I wanted to ask you about. So
yeah, but that's sometimes good, but it's a lot of times it's bad, because you lose this innocence of listening to music. You lose this innocence of perspective. I really love that innocence.
So you become like this detailed critic, and you're
analyzing
the
more
small defects.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not taking it just in an emotional experience. It's also kind of becomes more a thinking experience and some.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So analysis. You turn on the analysis engine.
Exactly. But that to me is not necessarily always the case. I love analysis. You learn a lot from analysis. Analytical and critical listening, you need that as a musician. But like just sitting back, chilling and listening to the thing and getting lost, that's it. Getting lost in time. You don't really think about anything. The music is taking you, actually. That still happens, of course. That's the innocence that you need to listen with. Not that you're daydreaming while the music is on, but you're really with the music. You're not really analyzing anything. Nothing is in your mind. Absolutely nothing. You know, and that's sort of meditation, I guess.
But now you find it a bit hard to detach again this way. Do you?
Not really. If I want to, I can. If I want to, I can. But a lot of the times, I really am interested about how certain musicians are making their music. So that to me really like makes me want to think about it a lot. But at the same time, it's such a beautiful piece of music that I sometimes might lose the point. But I trust me, I listen to it enough times to get it, to enjoy it and to criticize it.
So if you really want to dive into it, you have to give it much more than one listen to assimilate the track. Also,
of course, more than one listen every time. Like some tracks, especially Opeth over the years. Well, I'm a big Opeth fangirl, but especially that over the years, every time I've listened to Opeth, something new, like a new layer was seen for me, you know, like I saw it through a different kind of perspective. Still now, when I listen back to those songs, those really old songs, you hear it differently, you know, every time. So, but that is with all music, and that's the beauty of music, I guess. It never gets old. Timeless music, I mean, not Justin Bieber.
Now that you mentioned Opeth, so when was it Opeth when you started singing rock and metal? Is that like the first step to singing metal for you?
Yeah, well, I've sang a lot of the first song I growled, I guess.
Yeah.
There was a Bloodbath. That's also Åkerfeldt. And there was actually the first song that I played on guitar and growled was My Dying Bride. I don't know what's it called. I don't know.
So the doom stuff. but that was still doom, right?
It's not the price of
Death.
beauty. The price of beauty is called the song.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
Oof, that's a great. I don't consider that a doomy song. It's
Yeah.
really, you know, it has a fast pace to it, other than
Yeah.
like other doom stuff.
And this is when you started trying to form a band to cover that kind of music.
No, I formed the band before, actually. I had a band, I don't know, yeah, Orchid. It was called Orchid.
I guess Opeth influenced again, right?
Yeah, and Orchid was the first album of Opeth, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why Orchid, the band.
And you covered Opeth as like the first tracks you played?
The first song I ever played live was Credence by Opeth.
Okay.
That was in 2009, you know?
Okay. So
yeah.
This is when you had a band, 2009, and you were playing covers of Opeth. You started with the Opeth track cover Credence. You formed a band called Orchid. And what other kind of music you were playing? What other bands were around you in Syria? What kind of music was being played live in Syria, 2009?
Well, first of all, other songs, just all kinds of songs. I don't know, from like there was a Caesar and Amy, the one from Evanescence. I forgot her name. I'm really bad at names, but
yeah,
that one. We played that one. It's kind of
Bring Me to Life. Is it the typical one?
no. Then we played that later on, but it was another I don't know, broken kind of song. Emo, very emo song.
Yeah, so it was trendy, right? In 2008, 2009. These were also trendy.
Yeah, okay. And Metallica, we played Metallica, of course. I think we played Nothing Else Matters in every single fucking concerts we ever made.
Never skipped that one. It was like always the request of the crowd, like play that one, play that one.
And Creep, Radiohead also. That's like I don't know.
So by then you were singing and playing guitar at the same time, right? So when did you pick up the guitar and learn to
well, got my first one when I was 15, 16, something like that.
Okay.
So like a year or two later, I was doing the concerts, and I got like a very cheap kind of CM40 Yamaha that I had to like sell everything I owned, which was not much, included a lot of underwear. Oh, just kidding. But yeah, I had to sell a lot of things to get it, and of course my father had me. And then I got an acoustic guitar after that, and started from there, you know. But
yeah,
but when I first got the guitar, I started learning. I figured out I had pretty good ears. I started figuring out notes, just like, you know, one note by one note. Figured like I was just mingling around the melody of Porcelain Heart when I got it. So possibly it was like around 2008 that I first got it, you know. But yeah, I really played a lot of guitar back then. Not as much as I would have liked, but I played a lot. I sang a lot. We were doing, of course, the first concert I was in was called The Strike of My Orchid.
Even the concert, okay.
cheesy, but really nice name for it that I came up with.
And then there was the return of Orchid, the Orchid and the King, the Twin Towers.
No, but this was because the other band
I
was playing with Orchid was called The Strikes, okay? And in this band, of course, we had Bashar Haroun in both bands. The jockey.
Sounds like a 60s band, The Strikes. It's like the Beatles, the Monkees.
Was exactly. It was. They played a lot of like old Iron Maiden style kind of things, you know, but really 70s, 80s rock, you know, they played.
Okay.
And the guitar player from that band was Jodat Atassi. Like that's my best friend actually, and my bandmate right now, you know. So we played on different bands at that concert, but we ended up like just being together, I guess. But yeah, there was I can't think of, I can't remember any bands that were playing. Of course, Jack Power was was there, you know, like is the man of the rock, you know. Of course, Bashar Haroun was like organizing everything and making everything possible with his mojo.
It was possible to make those concerts often. It was easy to set them up at the time. How was this going overall in the country?
Oh no, we needed like clearance from the government and stuff like that.
Okay.
When we couldn't call it metal concert, we had to call it like a rock event.
Rock is fine. The word metal is dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever get in trouble during the concert? Did you ever take an air balloon to escape the stage?
Well, we had a lot of power cuts.
Yeah.
I think once we did a concert in Qasr al-Basil, and there was, I don't know, some people coming into it, and there was either a fight or people from the like government. I have no idea. I don't remember anything. And also we had, well, that's it. We had once we were like threatened that actually that's the last festival we did in Aleppo. We were threatened that, okay, we're gonna blow up your concert, because like it was the beginning of really like the tough kind of destruction in Aleppo.
Oh.
And they were like, okay, everything is being destroyed and you're making a concert, stuff like that. That was their thing, but nothing happened. So I think we had to change the venue in order to, you know, so that we feel safer or something.
So there was at some time it wasn't that easy anymore for all the reasons, right? The politics, the safety, the culture,
yeah.
Right? Things started to change and became even more difficult.
Yeah,
I see. But for a Syrian guy playing in a band, loving metal music doesn't necessarily need to go to the extremes. Doesn't necessarily always include the growls and the devil and whatever. But of course, you loving a band like Opeth, which does dive in some of those things, right? How did that go? Like, why Opeth? Why did you really stick to that band? What makes Opeth for you a special band as a main influence?
That's really easy and a really difficult question at the same time. But I love, the first thing that comes to mind, I can go on forever, but I love how much they don't give a fuck about labels. I love how they just roll with the idea of a palette, that they use metal as a palette. They are not a death metal band. They are not a rock band. They are not anything. They are just musicians who are trying to make music. I really identify with that a lot. You cannot, like, as a sculptor, if we really compare it to like painters, you're not going to paint the same painting with the same colors all your life. All painters, they go through periods where one period they're painting one style, and then they rotate to another style. They change up and they paint something totally different, you know. And that is the same thing. You can't really expect someone to make you the same song. It's basically the same song. You can change around some lyrics and some notes. It's the same freaking song, you know. But using a color, like metal, using it as a color, as a color in the palette, and really being open-minded and opening up to using other colors. That really makes your creativity flow, because it really gives you a sense of extreme freedom, you know. Anything is possible, no judgment, no cube to sit inside, you know.
Yeah, it sounds like the track No Judgment now. Is it Fair Judgment, is it?
Fair Judgment.
Yeah, so they're not bounded, and that doing music without much boundaries allows them to be, again, creative, innovative, different, right? And connecting with different kind of music lovers, right? They do interest some jazz listeners. They do interest some extreme death metal, and they do interest some people just like the acoustic ballads, right?
Exactly.
So they are everywhere in the music kind of a spectrum,
exactly.
right?
Exactly. You don't have to do, yeah, exactly. You don't have to do one thing, and you know, just for one audience or something. If you just do it for yourself, I think. If you don't, because some musicians, they have this kind of mentality of a businessman, okay, when they're doing music. That does not work. It never works. It might work to get you some numbers on your Spotify or whatever, but that's not gonna really work in the long run. That's not gonna help you make a timeless piece of music. It's gonna make you make something mediocre, but there is
Yeah.
billions of people making music. As I said before, 60,000 songs a day. You
Yeah.
need to, if you want to, like, so when you're doing a businessman approach, you're actually working against yourself, because if you want to like pop between those 60,000 songs,
Yeah.
you need to have your own voice. You know, you need to be you. You don't need to
You
be
need
someone.
uniqueness.
Yeah, you don't need
Yeah.
to be someone else.
For the people listening, I'm not going to dive into your personal life and background, education and work, but for the people listening, you did study business in the music industry, or you are studying that topic.
Yeah.
So when you're speaking about it, you're speaking out of some of the experience and some of the knowledge you're gaining about it as a business. So from the music business perspective, and then, but do you then see what you do as just a business career or a business plan to reach a business, a successful business as a music?
No, a business is just a part of it. The music is the car, and business is the wheels. You know, if you want to look at it this way, business is just gonna. You can make a whole car beautiful, Tesla, you know, whatever, but you need wheels to roll it somewhere, you know.
So, but you do know about the numbers. For example, on Spotify, tracks per day, you of course listen to a lot of different music, and you see this challenge for musicians to catch the attention, to appear. Like I'm on this, like, thousands of musicians, hours and hours of daily music. Even if you select this niche genre of a jazz prog death metal, you will still find 1,000 track released per day.
Exactly, exactly. But the thing is, you will find an audience, but you don't have to select anything. What you have to do is make the music, make the music that you like, that you want to hear, that makes you feel something, and then find the audience that wants to listen to it, you know. And the audience will want that, you know. It's not like, okay, I'm gonna make the music and put it out and hope someone will like it. No, you have to go and find, like define the audience, the target audience, and then go push the music to them, you know. So as easy as that. Not as easy, it's very difficult.
The concept is easy, applying it is difficult.
Yeah, marketing is actually a huge deal with music. I'm with AMBROTYPE, I'm not doing anything. I'm just focusing now on the writing process of the recording process, because I have to do mostly everything myself. So that's like a team's work power kind of thing, you know. So I have to work on behalf of like 6, 7, 8, 9 people or something. So that takes a long time for me. I also have to make money in my life to support my music, you know. To like buy expensive instruments and finance some other processes that need to be financed. But and that is I feel like that's the most difficult part about being a musician. I'm really jumping from topic to topic now, but it just leads me to that in my head, you know, because it's difficult only in the beginning. It's like you're turning on an engine that doesn't want to turn on, and then in the end it turns on, you know. But
it could take 20, 30 tries before you have it running.
Or just not tries, you can call them, or you can call it the process is really slow, and
you get if you get a very good label, they can throw in some kerosene with some TNT in it. It will just start right away.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Labels are not as everyone views them. They're not like you're getting a label and then you're getting a dietitian to take care of your food the next day, and someone to do your nails or something. No, you don't get any of that. A label is a business entity, especially if it's not a major label. If it's like an independent label, they would only help you with depends on the label, of course, but they will only help you with things like releasing, like making the CDs, or even not, getting you publishing deals, you know, or getting you on stage with big bands that they are also endorsing. which actually is what can happen with Perfect Storm, one of my bands. Now we got signed to a label. It's called Glassville. I mean, I don't really care, but that's really cool. But I don't really care because I'm gonna now see the Glassville music, because I mean, it's not the be all end all. What matters the most is the band itself are all still working. It's not like the workload on the band has lifted because once they got a record deal. You know?
Let's dive into the bands then. We already mentioned two names, and it's very unfair if we keep talking without detailing or explaining what are those bands, what's the story about them. So AMBROTYPE is was your first release, right? You released the album The Revelations as AMBROTYPE, right?
Yeah.
And that was 2015, am I right?
Yeah.
So you worked on that album, you recorded, composed, recorded the guitars. What did you record in detail? Explain the process of getting that album out.
Sorry?
Tell us about the process of creating the album and getting it out.
Well, I've had a very traumatic life up until my, I don't know, 25th year. But through that, I guess I started playing. I started like just writing. I wanted to write a song, thinking about one of the traumas I had, and I started feeling something. You know, it started like seeing it in my head, and it just happened. I wrote a couple of songs, really shitty songs. But I ended up like really changing around. Maybe they're shitty, maybe they're not. I don't know. But I changed around a lot. I wrote a lot of songs, I guess. I had the body of the song, the name, the concept of the song, and the riffs and everything inside it kept on changing, coming back, to find kind of the right balance of that feeling that I wanted to give in that song or that title. But I worked on it a lot. I changed a lot of band members. I started actually, there's Bardo brothers. Samir Bardo, he's like a really good drummer, you know. I got him. I got another. I got Jodat, of course. We used to be called Downfall, because I have a scar on my hand that's like an F. So I was like, it's pretty egocentric, but no, but that, like, it was called Downfall, and then Nepenthe, and then Nepenthe is a name of a song of Opeth, by the way, from their Heritage album. But then in the end, I fixated on AMBROTYPE, but we did rehearsals a lot in actually 1 or 2 rehearsals we did in Aleppo, and then for the rest I had to move to Lebanon to study and to run away from the shit that was happening, you know, like all the bombs.
So you carried the tracks while you were still building them, and you moved to Lebanon. That was at the same time. Which year was that, the move? Which year did you move to Lebanon?
2012 I moved to Lebanon. And I started there studying university. I did like a freshman year, and then I started doing journalism. But at that time, also at the whole time, I was still working on my music, still I knew that I wanted to be a songwriter. I wanted to write music. I had things to say to the world. I had things to say to myself. I had things to express, you know. I've always wanted to express.
What was the main theme in the tracks? Of course, people are going to listen to it now. We mentioned that they can learn about it, but can you describe the theme, the thoughts you had when you were writing the lyrics for the album?
Well, I feel like that's up to the audience to figure out, but it was a lot of obviously not something happy, you know. It's mostly really sad things that I needed to get over as a teenager, as a human being. But yeah, it was mostly like desperation, death, fear of being left by someone you love, or
losing someone.
Yeah, worthlessness, all of those really sensitive topics
Yeah,
that really can put down a human, you know,
yeah, yeah.
losing a loved one, like actually having a loved one die, being having near death experiences, lots of
Do
near
you
death
have
experiences.
experienced those?
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah,
Mhm.
I have in my years many. Thankfully now it's my life is more stable, so I've been healing more and
So
more.
this constant stress, this constant worry, this constant chaos around you, that totally, filled your mind with a lot of different thoughts, was some of the things happening around you, and then you moved to Lebanon. Did the move change some things? Did it help at least to reduce the worries, or you moved alone? The family was still back at home, right?
That was the start of the no. I know there was worries, but no, I also had a lot of bad experiences in Lebanon. Not related to Lebanese people or anything, but just bad experiences that
Hmm.
happened to me. But at the same time, really great experiences that changed my life actually and really opened my eyes.
So a
Uh,
mix of things, ups and downs, right?
yeah, of course,
H-
of
How
course.
how did it go, like, with the Lebanese people you met along the way in Lebanon? Like, what kind of, I don't know, differences you notice in the cultures? How did they perceive you when you say, "Hey, I'm a Syrian guy. My name is Adel"? How did that go usually?
Oh, well, it really look. It really depends.
Okay.
Before I used to go to like hospitals in Lebanon before the war. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to go with my mother and everything, and they used to treat us in such amazing, like really nicely and kindly. In
Mm-hmm.
the university, jumping back to the future, that was after in the war. I've met like I can say like one of the nicest and kindest people I have ever met in my years. You know, really good friends of mine I've met who are Lebanese. But then I moved to Beirut, and there was like for example, there was a bit of racism from like certain kinds of people, you know, who didn't like Syrians.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know. I don't want to go into like really
Specifics, but
specifics, but
yeah,
the thing is that you find that everywhere. I mean, you have for example Mexicans and Americans. They
yeah,
have the same exact same things. A lot of
yeah.
Americans are with. A lot of Mexicans are. A lot of Americans are against
Mm-hmm.
Mexicans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you have
Yeah.
they took out jobs. They have that that South Park.
I know it very well. Yeah, but
Exactly.
yeah. The thing is, for the people who are not from the area at all, like people listening maybe from Europe, they would assume that Arab countries, it's just the same bunch of people, right? It's the exact same people. They're homogeneous. They're all the same. They think the same. They have the same cultural habits, and they just live as one. But
No.
they don't know, when you dive into details, it's sometimes just, it's the same as the love between the French and the German
Yeah.
at some points, right?
Because humans, like we in the end we have this animalistic instinct, even
Yeah.
though we a lot of us can master it, but
Hmm.
those who cannot, they get really territorial, you know. This is our border and this is our land, and you are coming here intruders, you know, like they don't really see like, okay, we are stuck on this floating rock in the middle of space,
Yeah.
and there is billions of things around us that we don't know where are we, why are we here on this rock.
They see it
No.
at the small scale, at the
Yeah,
micro scale,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
In the cosmos, it's at a nano scale relative to the cosmos, the
Yeah. I
scale of the
always I
world.
always love to look at it from the
So you
cosmos.
just moved 100 kilometers, and now you're a very weird alien being in Lebanon, right? After 100 kilometers.
Basically, no,
I
but
see.
not always. I mean, I've had a lot of good friends there. Really met a lot of good
That's
friends.
what I wanted to ask you about. So you got to Lebanon, but you carried your skills in playing music, your skills in singing, and your
Yeah,
ideas.
yeah,
And you did get along with some musicians in Lebanon. You played with some people in Lebanon, right? Can you tell me a bit about that one as an experience?
yeah. Well, my first one was like in university. We used to play. Like I used to always go to that music room and play because I couldn't be so loud in my dorm room.
Yeah.
So I met a lot of nice people, like musicians, you know, whom actually I carried out the next 2 3 years playing with um, in bars or like in the university itself. But yeah, I formed like a little college band that is called like the Headbang Theory. I didn't call it that, but the Headbang Theory.
That's the title I found. Also, there's some live videos, some YouTube videos. The Headbang Theory.
Yeah. That was like, oh my
so
god.
It was influenced by the Big Bang Theory. The is it the physical scientific thing or the TV show?
I think the TV show. I didn't name it, but as far as I can remember, the guy is called Wasim Chalak.
So the guys were nerdy enough in the band to call it.
Very nerdy, yes, very nerdy. But yeah, that was that was kind of it. I carried out with like Downfall and stuff.
I have a comment from Basim Daibes. He's saying, despite the racism, Syrian metalheads have actually supported the Lebanese metal scene. So I totally agree with Basim on that one. So we have seen a lot of Syrians coming to Lebanon, attending events, playing in events. Even we have some Lebanese people who went to Syria, attended events. There was along the way always some exchange of bands and music and all that, and always a continuous support. And now
that's the thing, people of metal, people who are metalheads, and people who are within this kind of mindset of people who are metalheads. First of all, they're open-minded more, you know, like they're more open to other people's opinions, and they're more open to the world, you know. They're not really living like, okay, I walk from work to home to work. I only know a couple of things, people around me, and that's it. Yeah, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about those people, not the people who are metalheads. I think the people who are metalheads are like the most supportive of everyone, not only Syrians. You know. So actually, I could be like a friend of any metalhead, you know, in the whole world.
I see.
You know?
Generally, all humans have some tribal thinking, but I think when you're a metalhead, you already joined the metal tribe. Yeah. And at the same time, you're a bit open to the others, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I see. I agree. You were in Lebanon, you were playing with the Headbang Theory and with playing what kind of music with that project?
Well, it was mostly covers. Like we just covered Creep. We covered like whiskey in a jar, I guess. Those two songs, but I don't remember. But they were all covers, you know. We all just played covers. Nothing serious with that. We just played a couple of times, you know, just to keep on playing. And but to me, that was a little bit frustrating because I went from playing to, or at least let's call it eye-opening. I went from playing to like 400 or 500 people every month per concert, you know, to playing to like, I don't know, a couple of shows and not really finding any shows, or not really finding the person who will find me the opportunities to play, you know.
So the whole setup has changed, right? Things
the whole
like
setup
shrinked a bit. Everything was a bit smaller scale, less active.
Yeah, and that's the first kind of eye opener to the real world, you know, like how it is in Syria. We don't have so much going on, you know. For people like us, you know, like for metalheads or people who have an open mind to things, whatever. So our only outlet was metal concerts, you know, and then people, because they've been so repressed, they would go to the metal concert and they would flip the place around, you know. They would go and walk on ceilings, you know.
It's an escape, a chance to escape.
Yeah, but the thing is, the energy that gave me, it's like it was a little bit of a drug, you know. I was like, wow, what is this? But I still see people in like, I don't think Lebanese people are not like that. They are like that. They are a little bit less. We Syrians are more aggressive because we don't have that at all. You guys have like whatever, all kinds of bands coming, like Within Temptation, Guns N' Roses, Epica. I watched the Guns N' Roses in Beirut. It was perfect with my friend Joe, that Hasja, you can call him. But yeah, because I only see a similarity between the audiences in Brazil or in Mexico or in those countries.
Yeah,
really warm-blooded people, you know.
Yeah, well-connected scenes, and they're all into any event they go. They're filling the stadiums.
Yeah, and they're really like walking, like. But if you come here to like European concerts, everyone standing like a.
It's a different vibe, right? It's a different mood there.
They're standing and listening more than they are actually reacting to the music, you know. Which is both fine, but maybe like
I think
something's
the problem
happening.
could be that many of them here in Europe could be musicians at the same time. So they stand there and what is that guy doing on the drums, for example, right?
Yeah,
It could
exactly.
vary. If you're a musician, you try to sometimes absorb the music in a different way when you're live,
Yeah. I
right?
went to an Opeth concert here in the Netherlands,
Yeah,
and that was the first time I've seen Opeth, and I was like worshiping them all my years when I was a kid.
yeah.
Like pictures in
So
frames
you saw
for
your
them.
heroes live, finally.
Yeah, but then I
Yeah,
was like, I was standing in the front, and that was that metal bar thing. I was
yeah.
like doing like this the entire concert and like screaming.
Yeah,
I couldn't move for the
euphoric.
next. Yeah, man, I couldn't move for the next like week or so. I was like,
So you still have physiotherapy sessions for your neck tomorrow,
I
right?
was a vegetable. Yeah. No, but I don't dare do so much headbanging anymore.
Yeah.
I did
You
that a
went,
lot in Syria. That
yeah.
was not good for me. Yeah,
You went
also
there
like
at 8 a.m. Did you go there with the, like, to set up the stage before the band? You went at 8 a.m. in the morning to be there early?
no, I just like pushed my way through, like
Okay.
you know.
Yeah, I see.
I had a big beard, so like I look a little bit Arab, so probably they just let me
Well,
move.
you know, in the metalhead or in the metal scene, the extreme metal people, they tend to also, they was trendy to have a long beard the last 2-3 years. So probably they would just assumed you were just a metalhead with a long beard in the context of a concert, metal
Definitely,
concert. That
definitely,
works. That
definitely.
works. Okay. I'm gonna break away from the topic of rock and metal, and go a bit with the video on the topic of, let's say, the other scenes around metal, the maybe rock to Arabic music. I'm gonna run a video of something you were part of, you were a singer on, and then we're gonna talk about it.
All right.
Okay.
شوارعك يا بلادنا المعمورة لو 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 لالي لو 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 لالي الله حيي شوارعك يا بلادنا المعمورة يا الصوت علي واركب جناح الهوى هاتلي خبر وسلم لنا ع أهلنا يا غربتي اللي ما ينفع فيها دوا إلا الحبايب والسهر بديارنا لو 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 لالي لو 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 لالي الله حيي شوارعك يا بلادنا المعمورة لو 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 لالي لو 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 لالي الله حيي شوارعك يا بلادنا المعمورة يا ريت نعانق عتبتك يا دارنا والنوم نحلى النوم فوق بساطنا يا ميمتي وحضنك كان خدتي يا ربي تجمع بالحبايب شاملنا لو 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 لالي لو 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 لالي الله حيي شوارعك يا بلادنا المعمورة لو 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 لالي لو 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 لالي الله حيي شوارعك يا بلادنا المعمورة
Yeah. So, what's that? Tell us about this song. Tell us a bit about the story, the project Rasas itself, the guy behind it. What were we listening to?
Well, that was like, I think one of the only songs I released. Not me, but I was part of. That's Arabic. first, of course, I saw Rawad. I met him in a Zata Rosette. That's like really like one of my favorite places to get fat and eat.
So,
Yeah.
so that was in Lebanon, right?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. And I met him there, and then we hit it off. I mean, I already knew him from before, you know. And then he came over to my place. He's like, okay, I'm gonna record the guide for the song. I wasn't part of Rasas or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Then he recorded this guide for the song and for the drummer to play in my place. And then I gave him some ideas for the arrangement, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just slowly became a part of it. I just sang on it a little bit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
No practice whatsoever. I didn't do. I just went into the studio one day with him and the other singer,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, we were just recording. He borrowed guitar from Amadeus Awad. You know, of course, you know Amadeus Awad.
Yeah, he was a guest of mine here in the last episode. An episode before that.
Yeah, he was a friend of mine also in Lebanon.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I will talk about him later, but to do the Rasas now. Well, we recorded also that video clip for it, and from Ali Sheikh recorded it and his crew. We released it. It got a lot of attention. We had like I think 1 million views, and then for some reason he took it down. And
copyright strike was it or what?
I have no idea, but he took it down and he uploaded it again.
We had a similar incident not long ago.
Yeah, that happens. It seems to happen a lot. I also had the whole album of AMBROTYPE on YouTube, and
yeah,
they just took it down because it's a whole 1 hour video. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
It used to be an old thing about the video length. Maybe there was some limit at some point. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Maybe.
Doesn't matter. I don't care.
For the people listening, Rawad Abdel Masih is also a talented musician, composer, and he has released several albums under the band name The Hourglass.
Yeah.
With Bassem Daibis on vocals on the albums.
Yes. Bassem, my man.
Yeah, Bassem is listening to us. He's with us on listening to the live.
Hi, bro.
Hi, Bassem.
How are you?
So
I saw Bassem once in a concert, but really, really briefly. But I liked seeing him. But I don't know him.
Yeah, I guess we should have Bassem in one of the next episodes. Let's hope we're gonna try to have them soon. He's gonna be our guest to talk more about his band Black Yum, and of course we're gonna talk about the Hourglass. We're definitely gonna be talking again about Rawad. Rawad is a very active person in the music scene.
Yeah.
Hopefully also I'll be able to have Rawad at some point also as a guest on this show.
Yeah.
So Rasas was kind of a cover project, right?
I guess so. Like we're just our thing was to take like those really traditional Arabic songs and just turn them into like remake them completely, you know. We were making another song actually, but then I had to travel. But we were in the process of making another song. We were doing well, he did before like Saqat al-Khina, but and then followed that with the Rasas thing, the Lamhayi Shawaraki, and then we were doing something for Rahbanis, you know, the Rahabni. But we tried to take permission to do their song. I forgot which one it was, but they didn't allow us. So
it's difficult usually with that family. Let's say that there is always some copyright issues with their music, and because of the family is big, there are different people holding the rights, and there are sometimes some difficulties. I hope one day you'll still get the permission, and Rawad will be able to record what he has in his mind. Because I enjoyed every track by Rasas, every cover in the rock style that Rawad did.
Good, because a lot of the work went into them, you know, like a lot of really talented musicians did, like Omar Harb, you know Omar Harb?
And on drums, Fuad Afra?
No, yeah, Fuad Afra is on drums, yeah.
But, so I've seen him play live. He's one of the extremely talented jazz drummers I've ever seen.
Then you should also see Omar Harb, because he's like a freaking alien, you know. He's not he doesn't belong in this world. And he's really doing a lot of good stuff with like with the music scene, the Arabic, like hybriding the Arabic and the Western kind of styles, you know.
So do you think that could introduce like a bit more people to rock and ease their way into rock and metal? Like it's not the devil, we're just singing Majid Rumi in metal. Is Majid a devil, for example?
No, yeah, exactly. Of course, that should be. I mean, I don't. It's just like that Black Lives Matter kind of campaign. I'm like, really? Do we really still have to talk about this? Is this?
Yeah, it's supposed to be something trivial by now, right?
Yeah. What the hell is going on? Why?
I see.
Why so little?
Yeah, of course, we all care about all lives. And nobody should be discriminated, and we all are open for all music, and no music should be discriminated in a way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, music is just music. It's not gonna hurt anyone. It's not gonna like turn anyone to do anything. Those people who want to do something, they will do it themselves, and they will find things around them to support that. The music is not the weapon. It's not the killer here. You know, the killer is the person who's using.
I see. Bassem had another comment also on Fuad Afra, now that I mentioned him as a drummer, that he was part of one of the old rock bands from Lebanon, was called Exceed. And it was a heavy metal band in the 80s and in the 90s. So it's one of the oldest Middle Eastern metal bands, let's say. And he's still on the drums, covering rock tracks, playing his own thing, also his other type of projects. So the area has bands that are really old that are still active, but they're not, you know, that big, that international at the moment. But it has history, like in the area in the Middle East. We kind of tagged along metal right from the beginning, right? There were some old bands. Do you know any old band in Syria? Like the oldest rock band you know in Syria? Do you know the name of it? Jack Power?
Yeah.
You know which year was that band active?
70s.
Okay, so again, right? So when was the rock? Rock is a bit older, but metal was like the 70s.
Yeah,
so
I have some videos for you that maybe you should check out, or people. I don't know. I don't have them now, but like there are really old videos on YouTube, I think, or on Facebook of Jack Power playing in the 70s or 80s or something. He was playing in the castle of Aleppo, in the Aleppian castle. You know. Like,
wow. If you want to share it now, that we could do that.
I have no idea where it is.
Okay. So we'll search for it. Maybe we'll put on the comments if somebody wants to check the band, right? We'll add it to the comments.
Yeah.
Before we move to other subjects, because there are a lot of music and albums and EPs and all that. One last thing about the track Allah Mhayi Shawaraki. At the time that track was being recorded, there were things happening in Syria.
Yeah.
And this song is about part of the peace and the beauty of the streets of our nations, right? So it was connected at the same time to the things happening. Did you feel emotionally connected to such a song? When you sing in Arabic, those lyrics, do you feel like, do you get the feeling that do you miss the streets? Do you miss the beauty that was destroyed, for example?
In some way, I guess. In some way. I didn't write the song, so I don't really I can't connect with it like songs that I've written.
Yeah.
You know? Because songs that I've written are custom tailored to what I'm feeling, you know. So I wrote political kind of songs about bloodshed and death, but they're more like bloodshed and like, you know, really like gory stuff, not but which was the reality, you know.
Yeah.
So but with that song, I mean, I connect with it on some level. Let's just it, you know.
Okay. I still have two questions on the Arabic-English thing.
Yeah.
One is, do you think some tracks in Arabic can be translated and still carry the same meaning as a English metal track, for example?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Never. Definitely not. Maybe one time in 99 times, but not really. No. So as you saw now, that guy he took my song, the Turkish guy. And
you should tell them about it if you want. They're live listening to it. You can tell the story briefly.
Yeah, I mean, you just told me. You told me now. Rami told me that like what he found that one Turkish guy, he took one of my songs, and he started singing Turkish on it. You know,
translated it to Turkish, and now it's a Turkish song on Bandcamp with your name on it, Adel Saflou, as the guitar guy.
Yeah.
And you never knew the guy, you never met him.
No.
He just
I just
took
hear
your
about it
track,
now.
translated, but you know, he just mentioned you as the guitar player on his track.
Yeah, but that's fine. I mean, that's making him feel something. But to me, the initial feeling of the song is lost. You know, the initial feeling that I feel. And the initial feeling that people would I don't know. It's just the translation is really difficult thing. You know.
So words in poetry are not that easy to translate.
No,
right? They carry a different meaning when they switch to another country.
Really difficult.
To another language.
Really difficult. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. I feel. I mean, not everything's possible. It's not like be all end all of opinions. My opinion.
I'm gonna flip it in another way. The same question. You are a big fan of Opeth, right?
Yeah.
We totally agree on that. It's obvious, but we're gonna talk even more about Opeth along the way. But would you take one of Opeth's songs and switch it to Arabic?
No, I can't do that. It's like a holy book. Can't change.
It should never be translated. I see.
I mean, he did that. He did that on his last record. He translated Swedish to English.
Yeah, I heard the Swedish version. Yeah, and the opposite. Yeah,
I also heard both. I connect more with the English version, so that's already breaking what I just said. You know.
Okay.
You can never have that. But just because I can sing the lyrics, you know.
But it probably lost some meaning from the Swedish to the English. It probably lost some meaning.
Of course. Yeah. Of course, I wish I learned Swedish. Sometimes I was like, okay, I'm gonna learn this song and only Swedish for this song, so I can.
Yeah,
he did one song in the Watershed album.
Yeah,
he did, covered one song. It's called I don't know, then something. It's Swedish Watershed. I don't know. I forgot the name of the song.
This seems to happen a lot to me today, and also to you. It seems we're forgetting basic names that we're supposed to know by heart.
Yeah, but I tell you, I suck at names anyways. You know?
Yeah. No, it's funny because we had a conversation before the live 2 days ago, and I mentioned to you that I'm a big fan of a band called Pain of Salvation, for example. And then I wanted to tell you which album, like we were talking about a specific album, and neither you or me remembered the album name. And we both said like I'm a big fan of the band, right?
Yeah, that's
so it could happen.
You get traumatized in the passing day of light, right?
Yeah. So it could happen, right?
But the song is called like then Standiga Resan.
Yeah, careful. Pronunciation is tricky in the Swedish.
Yeah, I don't know with that one. But it's a cover and it's Swedish.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't connect. I heard that. That was my initial feeling from it. I got it from that song. I sing it in Swedish. No problem. I cannot imagine singing it in English, you know, because it's so beautifully sung in Swedish. Or that's actually maybe my perception of it, like that. I perceived it, and now it's imprinted in my mind. That that's how it's supposed to be, you know. So
I see.
It's all about the first impressions, I guess.
Now you are closer to Europe. You were in Lebanon, playing with the Headbang Theory.
But then I met Amadeus Awad after that.
Tell me what's the story, because you said you want to tell more about that relation.
Well, I was still like kind of amateurishly writing, you know, really not knowing anything.
Lyrics or music?
No,
because he's a genius with the lyrics part for sure and the music part for sure. But you and
no, but that was something totally different. I was with him when I connected with him. I needed to improve my production kind of side, music production, you know. So, and I heard his song. He was at the time he released. I don't know what's it called. Also, the one with the black wheels and stuff. Noir.
Schizamus. From the EP, Schizamus.
Yeah. Oh, that was such a beautiful masterpiece, man.
This thing.
No,
Schizanimus, and the track was The Poetry of Time, Noir. A song for a loner. So I think you meant the Poetry of Time, because you released the video for that.
No, not the Poetry of Time. The Poetry of Time is a beautiful song indeed.
Yeah.
Elia is like Jesus, very hot on it.
Okay.
And Noir is also such a beautiful song. Song for a Loner is also wow. All of it this is like my favorite of his, you know. But then I was like, okay, what the hell? This is like, I've never heard something like this in from an Arab person, you know, like coming out of an Arab person. So I contacted him right away, and like we met recently after I went to his studio. Then I asked him, I'm like, okay, I want to take lessons with you for production and stuff. Okay. So we started doing some lessons, you know, here and there. I used to travel like 1 hour, like from Tripoli to his, like from Balamand to Beirut.
Yeah.
Every time I needed to take lessons and back, which was totally awesome. You know, he really helped me a lot with the production, kind of initially starting with that, like how to record everything and stuff like that. Yeah, and that was that. I recorded my vocals at his studio, at his home studio actually, for the album. Mostly, not everything. One song I recorded at on my own. And he's a very, very, very good guy, you know, like Amadeus Awad. We don't talk anymore for a long time now. I haven't talked to him, but I really like him. Like he's a good person, you know. I like who he is. But I wish he makes music. He's not making. I think he's been really inactive for a couple of years now, right?
5 years. We talked to him in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
In the episode before the last one, and he is working on the next album.
Oh, good.
Coming
good.
soon. So he has the next release coming soon.
I played like 3 concerts with him. Like
Wow.
I was a guitar player, like with like.
I thought I saw you somewhere.
Yeah, we played some covers. Yeah. We played. I mean, I played some covers with him. Like
was it Quadrangle? Did you play at Quadrangle, this pub? And
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I saw you there.
And then we played at like a huge, like big kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And then like a motor.
What was called Metro? Was it Metro?
Yeah,
Metro, right? Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I was there too.
And he played that album that you have there in the back. The metal.
The Eon Book of Gates. Eon.
Yeah.
Amadeus Awad's Eon, to be accurate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also a very nice album, right? So I have that one. I have the EP. I have the rest, but not all of them physical copies. I have a lot of digital. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, but then I finished with that, and then of course I was also on the verge of releasing my album, which actually Omar Harb mixed. You know, Omar Harb is he's the same guy of the bass in Rasas, and he's the same guy who mixed the song by Rasas, the Shawaraki song.
Yeah.
So he mixed AMBROTYPE, and then I had to leave. I had to go. I was with some kind of trouble that I had to get out of Lebanon really fast.
That's what I wanted to get to. So they're happening at the same time when you were recording the first album.
Yeah.
So you were recording first album. You had Amadeus helping you with like improving your skills in what you do and teaching you some of the, you know, his tricks, let's say. And he helped you record the vocals, you said, right?
Yeah.
Most of it, you said. And what happened? What got in the way?
Nothing got in the way. I had to leave that because, of course, I got into some trouble that I wouldn't want to talk about. But after that, I had like a notice that I had to leave the country in a week or so. And then I stayed in Lebanon illegally for 1.5 years because I did not have a passport to get out, because my only option was going back to Syria. That was not an option.
Which was not an option.
Yeah, and then I had to wait until I could bribe someone to get me a passport, a Syrian passport, so that I could leave to Turkey.
That was your only option.
Yeah, that was my only option where it didn't involve me.
And how did it go during that time in Lebanon? Like, that has to be one of the really stressful times where you don't feel you do belong. You can't go home. You can't go anywhere.
Let me just tell you that I thank God for a burger joint. You know, burger joint, classic burger joint.
Yeah, yeah.
I ate
In
like
Zal'a?
everywhere.
Or
It's
yeah, in the
everywhere
north. You were in the
classic
north, yeah.
in Beirut. I lived in Beirut at that time, huh?
Yeah.
And I was eating a lot of burgers. I used to look like a circle.
So
But,
stress, right? A lot of stress, and that
yeah.
was your friend at the time. I see.
Yeah, but I always had music. You know, I always
Yeah.
that was the beautiful thing about it, is that I always had the music as my friend. You know, to.
So you got a major, let's call it a distraction from the album at the time, but you were still trying to work with it. And then you got your papers done to exit Lebanon. So you got the passport you needed.
Yeah.
And how what happens next? So let's continue on the journey.
Got out, went to Turkey, and then I figured out, okay. Now
How did you get to Turkey, if you want to mention?
By plane.
By plane. Okay,
yeah.
okay. Just because at those years, you know, there are a lot of alternative methods that weren't the easiest.
Yeah, but I was already, like, because I got my passport, then I was legally able to travel, so I didn't have to go through the mountains and stuff like other Syrians have to do, and then get possibly shot by
a lot of people had to go through that, right? They couldn't get the passport, and that was their only choice. Yeah,
my cousins and their father, well, we met in Turkey, and then we went on a journey to Europe. They came through that way, and they they got really a lot of trouble for it, you know, with the border police and stuff. They like really had to hide and run and do some maneuvers to get into Turkey for some reason. Yeah, but then I stayed there for a month in Turkey, and then.
How did you spend the time in Turkey?
With family.
There were some members of the family you haven't seen for some time, right?
Yeah. For my stepmom and sister and brother, I haven't seen them for like 5 years.
Wow.
At that time.
Okay.
Yeah, but now my mom, I haven't seen her for 5 years, 6 years. Or my dad, for example, in the past 14 years, I saw him, I don't know, twice. 3 times, twice.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. But that's a part of it, you know. A lot of exodus, a lot of you can't move around. I just got my residency here, like my permanent residency, so I can.
You're in the Netherlands now, right?
Yeah. So I can move around a little bit more freely. So I feel like less of a prisoner.
So 2021, things started to get better with the comfort of living somewhere. So now you have the residency, you have less to worry about, finally.
Sure.
there's always a lot to worry about, but this is an improvement in the state, right? In the status.
Yeah. It's not as glamorous as one might think, but
okay. Of course, there's a lot of difficulties along the way. But how did the music that you're creating, how was it influenced by that journey? So when was the album released relative to this journey? Was it before you got to Turkey?
I released it on the 8th of June, 2015. So before I got to Turkey, I think.
Yeah.
So like as I was getting to Turkey, because I left Turkey. I actually arrived to the Netherlands on the 2015 September.
Yeah.
And I think I started my journey on August. We went out from Izmir by boat on August 28th or 29th. I'm not sure. So the whole thing, getting to Netherlands, took like 13, 14 days, you know. But yeah, I had it already released, and I couldn't really do much marketing for it. I had the plans to like make video clips and stuff like that, but that didn't work out because of having to move so much, you know, because of being so unstable like that. So nothing much happened in terms of marketing for that, as much as I would have liked, you know, no marketing plan whatsoever, but you learn from your mistakes, so that's fine. But then I moved, and through that moving process, of course, I had to go without anything, without guitars, without everything. I had to go to the Netherlands, you know. I didn't know that I wanted to go to the Netherlands, but I just followed my intuition, and then I ended up in the Netherlands. I wanted to go to England to be with my family, with my father. And because England is an English-speaking country, so that I don't have to learn another language. But it's fine. Netherlands was also fine. Otherwise, I would have had to hang on on the bottom of trucks or something, you know.
So the Netherlands overall is very open, and most people speak English, right?
Yeah. But of course, you do have to learn Dutch. You're sitting in a Dutch country. You have to eventually. I just let it seep into my subconscious. You know, I have a Dutch girlfriend, and she keeps on talking Dutch to me. So
she's helping. Good. Yeah. It takes some time to learn Dutch, I guess.
Yeah, especially if you know English, because
they are close. Yeah, they are close. Yeah. German is a bit more difficult.
Oof, don't start on that.
I'm living in Germany. I've been living here for 6 years. I think I got to 60% of the language capability.
Well, that's perfect. That's great. That's already 150%.
I crossed the 50. Yeah.
That's already 150% to like people, you know, like me.
Yeah, it takes time. I know, but Dutch. I've been to Netherlands several times. A lot of people, almost anyone you meet speaks English. Almost anyone you meet.
Yeah, in the bigger cities, not in the smaller cities.
Yeah, not in the towns.
Yeah.
Okay.
Continuing on the
Netherlands journey.
I went to the Netherlands with a lot of hope and aspirations, and a lot of things in my mind that I wanted, a lot of plans that I wanted to initiate, AMBROTYPE wise. I started writing the album of AMBROTYPE as I was leaving to the Netherlands. So in Turkey, I wrote a song, and in Lebanon, I wrote a song. And they were completely different from my old songs. It's like I've really evolved into something, some new creature or something, you know. But then I tried to continue on that, but it didn't work out because I was stranded in like camps without a home, you know, for 2 years or something. 2 years, yeah, about that time, 1.5 years, 2 years. So, and it was really moving around like camps all the time. So you did not have a chance to do anything or know anyone. It doesn't matter, but it's just part of it. So that really delayed my progress with the album until I could find a house and finally settle and you know, get starting again. I had my guitar sent to me after a year or something. I borrowed the guitar after 6 months of not playing because I was like dying away.
You really needed to play, right? And you really needed to sing, to express.
Yeah, and that was like the most time that I needed because like you're just stuck in this like they repurposed maximum security prisons or something to.
Were you going back to AMBROTYPE at the time, the Revelation album? At the time, did you like visit the thoughts and the mood of the album during that time?
Sure, I don't know. I don't really visit anything. I just be in it, you know. I'm just, maybe I was in a totally different state actually. I saw the world from a completely black point of view. Almost tried once to commit suicide, but that was short. Like right after I had like kind of an epiphany, like, okay, this is not the way. I don't want to do that. It's not for me. So
yeah.
But because of all the things that, for example, I get into maybe sometimes when you have a lot of trauma in your life, you would be like, okay, I didn't ask for this. Maybe I can just turn it off, you know. But that's not really the mindset that you want to have, you know. Like this is wrong. It's not coming out of a conscious state of being, you know. You won't even look at it as a victim, you know. When you look at it as a victim, then it is like that, of course. When you look at it from a witness point of view, you know, you are witnessing your life, then it is completely different. It is such a joy. You feel so grateful for everything.
So it's a mindset thing. You can control the mindset, you can switch the mood, you can take charge rather than surrender.
No, you just surrender to your witnessing, and that's what you do. You don't take charge. You don't have charge.
You can't take charge.
No one can take charge. You think you can take charge, but No, you cannot. When you take charge, you will feel like a victim in the end. When you
Okay.
surrender and you just be, it will. I don't know. I'm just like on a totally different level of being at times, but it
Okay.
helps a lot with trauma, especially, and it helps a lot with keeping that separate from music, if you know what I mean, and knowing how to combine the two in a way that is complementary, in a way that will not ruin the music or ruin you. But that's a very hard equilibrium to find, you know.
So you were for a long time in a kind of still a stressful situation, still an uncertain situation.
Yeah.
And that definitely again kind of built up somehow the content, the subject of the second AMBROTYPE album.
Yeah.
So it seems like AMBROTYPE is kind of the reflection of that phase every time. I've moved Syria to Lebanon. There was a lot of thoughts, mostly dark, mostly aggressive, maybe. And that translated into the first album, Revelations. Then you had to go through another phase, so ups and downs, another phase in Netherlands, those difficult time moving from place to another, not being able to reach the land where you want to be, to join the family, to be, you know, surrounded by the loved ones, the family as you originally planned. That again took you to this mindset that created the content or pushed you to work on the next AMBROTYPE album?
I guess so. I mean, a lot of things. It was more like a psychotic approach for the next AMBROTYPE.
Yeah.
I think people will hear it. They will be, I don't know, they will understand. I can only explain so much about how an apple tastes, but you have to taste it.
You have to try it. How do you have a title for it?
It's going to be called The Colors of Darkness.
I see. So the title is enough to kind of get the hint of where things could go.
I have no idea.
Okay. When do you plan to start releasing maybe a teaser, to release a single?
I have no
uncertain.
I've been look, since I got to Lebanon, I got to my house and I started really seriously working and writing again on the album.
Yeah.
I wrote the songs, really worked so hard to get all the songs cohesive. Really long songs, you know, like 17-minute songs, most of them, you know, not most of them, but at least 3 or 4 or really long songs. The shortest one, like 7 minutes. But I had an idea. I got inspired by Paramixer. That's a song by Animals as Leaders. Okay, it's an acoustic kind of genty song, you know,
acoustic gent. Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I want to make I really love how acoustic guitar sounds, and that's like my favorite instrument, and I have it all the time. I'm just sitting there in the camp on the bed and mingling around. So I really wanted to translate that kind of really earthy kind of vibe, prog, to really modern production, you know. So I wanted to just make a singer-songwriter that is really complex and long, you know. So and of course build around that, so everything is attached to the acoustic and the singing, you know, all the drums, the bass, and what they're doing, they're really like complexly attached,
I see,
you know.
I see. Sounds like a 12/5 live concert from Pain of Salvation, if you heard that one.
No, I haven't.
It's a kind of an acoustic set and a reinterpretation of their prog tracks. It has long prog tracks, but kind of a singer-songwriter kind of interpretation. Of course, it's still very proggy. It's a band, but it's a kind of reinterpretation into an acoustic style. Yeah, you should check that out.
If you know Dethroned and Uncrowned by Catatonia.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
That album is a really nice one.
I see. So you still have those different influences around you, and Animals as Leaders you just mentioned was one of those that gave you that idea, right? For such
sure. Okay. But I also listen to a lot of like different music from outside the genre. And I really like Gabriel Garzon, for example, Montana. Gabriel Garzon Montana is really good. Kind of if you want to like dance, you know, like he's really a good guy. for that. I really like Hiatus Coyote. That's such a great band. Moses Sumney. Those are really modern, like amazing kind of musicians that I love. Bent Knee, if you know that. Also, just your normal prog like Haken and Leprous and all those bands. You know, I'm really inspired by all of those for the album. But at the same time, every time I write, every time I do anything with music that's concerning me,
yeah,
I just drop all the theory. I drop all my influences. I drop everything. I forget everything. I empty my mind.
You want to be you again.
Yeah, or I want to silence all the noise, the influencing noise, and just listen to my intuition. It will still have influences in it, but it will not be like, oh, I want to do this because I want to sound like that band, or I want to do this because I think my audience would love to hear that. You know, I don't. Those thoughts are there. You know what?
Yeah.
And they are exciting. Oh yes, I can finally be like that band. They are exciting, but they will not help you when you write. If you want to find your own voice, they will cloud you a little bit. They will hinder you. You know. So to me, it's more like I just sit there, meditatively write, get something out, let it come out by itself. I don't know how it happens. It happens. Don't ask me.
Do you have guests on the album, on the second album? Do you intend to work with some people, specific people?
No, I don't have guests.
Okay.
It's all my band. So after I wrote those songs, I spent 2 years looking for band members. Okay.
2 years.
I stalked every single person who has a picture of him playing guitar in the Netherlands or playing drums.
Yeah. What's the problem?
Huh?
What's the problem?
The problem, I wrote the bass lines, I wrote the drums, okay? On a very complex level. I spent like a week writing every song with the drums, like dotting every single hit, you know, making it really like to sound as close to what I have in my mind as humanly possible, you know, with the bass, same thing. But then I tried to go out and find people who are able to play that, what I wrote, you know? And that's why it took 2 years, because I couldn't find anyone. You know,
you made it so complicated.
Maybe.
I mean, challenging. You made it so challenging, so it was out of their natural, let's say, comfort zone. Their comfort zone in playing the instrument they play.
Yeah. Because every drummer has his natural kind of chops. He has those certain chops. That don't necessarily go with me. But I needed to find someone whose natural playing. My thinking was, okay, I need to find the right member. And that's not possible unless I write something that's really close to me, and then have someone who can imitate that as much as possible with his own natural playing, but imitate that as much as possible, you know. So I found them in the end, finally, after like having switched, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5 band members, or like, and talked to like tens and tens of band members, you know, and waited for their replies and stuff like that. So all of that was really slowing the process down, which I really hated, but I couldn't do anything about. But in the end, I got the drummer that I dreamed about, I guess.
Okay.
By mistake. And
somebody introduced you to someone that introduced you to someone else. Is it that kind of something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that,
Did he record already the drums?
Yeah, they're done. They're all recorded.
Worked. Okay.
For 8 songs.
Yeah.
There's gonna be one kind of single, but I'm gonna just include it in the song, in the album. And the rest, 8 songs. And now the bass player, whom actually I'm with in my other band.
We'll get to that in a minute. Yeah.
He recorded most of his bass lines. You know, I have only 2 songs left to record with him. But then I started now recording the acoustic.
Okay.
And I recorded 4 songs, and then I figured out, okay, my guitars are shit. I need a really much better guitar. Because it is all based on acoustic guitar. You know, there's a lot of acoustic guitar in that thing, so I might as well just get the best acoustic guitar that I can get. Not afford. I can't afford this, but the best guitar that I can get. So I got the same guitar that was that Mikael Åkerfeldt recorded his last few 3, 4, 5, 6.
The same one he was holding, or the signature one?
Oh no. Not, I do have the signature.
Yeah.
I do have that PRS signature which I got in Lebanon, but and that's my only electric guitar. But this is not a signature. It's just it is a Martin guitar, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
It's a triple O, but it's like a long scale guitar, okay, and that is a John Mayer kind of guitar, okay.
He uses
John
it
Mayer
in
has
his
the same, huh?
He uses it in his live sets.
Yeah, he uses that one. But the one that Mikael uses is a shorter scale, so it has a shorter neck. But I prefer this one because the notes sound fuller on it for some reason. Because I can tell you, because the fundamental harmonics are more spread out. So, but you don't give a fuck about that, do you?
Well, if you play the instrument, you give a fuck. But if you don't play, just listen. That's a different story.
Yeah.
So, you can go technical a bit. It's fine. Some of the listeners are also guitar players, and they could be curious, like what is the trick there, right? So it's fine. You can go technical on some subjects. That's totally fine.
Sure.
If we start going about specific guitar tech stuff, that is another episode on its own, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm gonna play another video now for another project you are part of, with more coming. Then again, after the video, we'll talk about it. Okay.
All right.
No answers to find, everything is available now on your own search engine. It's out of control. We're out of control. It's out of control. You're out of control. Servant has now become your king. The greed of innovation has brought you to your neck. The soul encrypted in your head, forged out of your own blood and sweat. You're too slow to comprehend your fate lies in what you create. On the edge of our existence, we rise to fall away. Not a shade of same old colors, and darkness ends today.
There'll be some things in your technology that will cause damage or death. There will be an outcry. There will be investigation. Years will pass. There will be some sort of insight.
Restless eyes surrounded by
Okay. We just listened to a track by DEREV, right? I think your mic might be muted. Careful.
Yeah.
So
Read some comments. People couldn't hear us or something.
that was the first 1 minute. There was a problem with my microphone. That was fixed. How did you get involved with this band? And Why can't you just move to Canada?
Well,
explain to the listeners.
I can't move to Canada because I have my life over here.
Yeah, but you know why I'm saying that? I really love the music. I really love your voice on the track, and I definitely think if you continue with them on other releases, it would be perfect.
Maybe you never know what happens in the future. But I know Misho from, like, he's a good friend of mine, man. Through, of course, my guitar player Jodat Tassi.
Yeah,
he's his best friend. But then we also got acquainted, and we started playing some video games online together. And yeah, through that, I mean, and then he knows what I do, and he kind of asked me to try it out, you know, and then I did. He liked it, and there we are, almost done with the album.
So you have the this track, the first track, Futile, is out.
Yeah.
There's another track, Delayed, coming soon.
Yeah.
And then the EP is in April, right? The EP release, Leap of Faith, will be in April. What do you think about it as a project, as the music that it contains, the style, the message? What do you think about it as a contribution or a project you contributed in?
I really like it. I think it's the guys have put in a lot of work into their music, and I think they have a really particular thing that they are after. Like, it's of course something that I'm really proud to be in, you know, and I really love Misho, and I love doing that for him. Also Armando, I don't know Armando so much. It's that online thing, huh? It's always you have to really get to know people in person, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the bummer about it, you know, the thing that's not that I don't like. So I really miss the playing together in an actual room, you know. But I really love the project. I think a lot of other songs are coming up that are actually great songs. It has some Opeth influences. It has some, I think, to my ear, some Godsmack influences, some Soen influences.
Of course.
Yeah, but that's the entire album, I think. But still, you cannot Dream Theater also, but you cannot put anything in a box. I don't know.
Yeah, vocal wise, I felt a lot like it was very close to what Zoen has on vocals.
Yeah. I guess so. Maybe I don't know if that was on purpose or not. I thought of Godsmack when I was doing DEREV a little bit.
But
no, Godsmack, the faceless.
From my side, I've been listening to Zoen since their beginning, and I think they reached a certain maturity in the way they make their songs after the third album. And DEREV just made this from their first track. Now they're just at the same level where Zoen was, and Zoen is it's all professional, long experience musicians. So DEREV just jumped at the same level, and this is where they're starting.
Yeah, man. They're really good. The guys, they really put in a lot of hard work. Their whole life is about this, you know. So it's gonna be good. You know, it's gonna be great. Bands like Soen and all the other ones are a bit entitled because they already have the audience. They don't have to work as hard as
to gain the audience.
Like if you listen to the early Lepers albums, the album's called Coal, okay?
Yeah.
And the one after, Congregation, I think it's called. Those are really complicated albums, especially Coal, okay? Really complicated. But then as they went more famous, they loosened up a bit. I don't want to be so technical anymore, you know? Yeah. Maybe I'm in no position to say anything about anything. So, but I don't really care. They can do what they like.
Yeah.
As long as they do it from a good heart, you know, from a heart of, okay, I'm doing this for me, not to get more audience. You know, that's my only problem with musicians. Yeah. So, but DEREV, since they are emerging, they work like hell. You know, like they are working. It's labor
Yeah.
what they're doing. You know, it's not like, okay, we're writing a song for record. No. They do it 24/7. The guys, they're like, okay, the song is coming out of my eyes because of how many times I listen to it. Same thing with me. You know, like. With AMBROTYPE or with DEREV or with whatever I work on, I listen to those songs a zillion times, you know.
Yeah.
So, it takes a lot of work, especially to do something that's on this professional level on your own, with no like really experienced producers next to you telling you do this. You know, it takes a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of YouTube tutorials also.
Okay. To those interested in listening more to DEREV and getting to know the project a bit more, we did an interview with Mikael and Armando just recently. It's published on the Facebook page.
Misho,
I think he's watching. He should be watching us. Patrick just posted the link for that interview. Whoever is interested to check it out.
I definitely. Ashniness.
I definitely expect a lot from DEREV as a band. I already played the teaser from Delayed for the next track, and I would recommend anyone to listen to their music if they're fans of prog rock. It's amazing, and your voice on that track, Adel, is really, really amazing. And that's why I just told the guys, you should find a way to keep Adel with you on this project.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
But let's go back to the Netherlands. So you are in the Netherlands. You are interacting with the musicians around you, or looking for musicians. But you were not the only one looking. There were other people looking for you. People looking for a vocalist to be part of their project.
Yeah.
I'll let you tell me a bit about it. Then I'll play the track from the band Perfect Storm, right?
Yeah. Well, I got that through my bassist. I first found my bassist, David, who is like, I think, one of the best bassists on the planet. I don't think of him as anything less than that. Well, I found him the same way like through Facebook, you know, like just adding every single human being who holds a guitar, especially a 6 or 5 string bass, which my songs required. And then I just talked to him. I didn't know how he played, but then he sent me some videos, and I was really mind blown. Like he was exactly what I needed, you know. So, but through him, he was already playing in this band, Perfect Storm. And then he recommended me, you know, and that was that. I mean, I got contacted by the guy from Perfect Storm. His name is Gertian Schurer. Hi, Gert. And we started doing, like, he came over to my place. We started doing some demos for the vocals. You know, they already had the demos of the vocals and the lyrics and stuff. But then we just started working on them and making them more like production ready, you know, and adding some things, changing some things around, getting the melodies to be stronger and stuff. And then we recorded that for a year or so. We were working on it, you know. And now finally released it. But the problem is the corona, of course. We cannot play any live concerts or anything. Yeah. We're recording a video clip soon, though. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that, but there you go. Yeah, it's released, and right away we got like attention of like the Glassville label, you know, who's like, they have like Riverside, Gazpacho, Kayak, Pain of Salvation,
big prog bands,
yeah, Pain of Salvation, King Crow, if you know them. Yeah. All of those. Port Noir, that's also a big band that they have.
French? Yeah. The name is French.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. I saw them live once with Lepers. Yeah. But, yeah, so that was such a short thing, but I still did not reap any fruit.
Okay, so
because we still have to play, like, it's all based on playing live and getting more audience that way.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have to wait for that, you know, until Corona is gone.
I understand your excuse when it comes to DEREV being in Canada, but
Yeah.
Perfect Storm is in the Netherlands, right? So what's at the moment your relation to the project, to the band? Are you just featured on the album, or you're a vocalist band member?
Yeah, I am a band member of the band.
Okay, so
I joined that because the process of AMBROTYPE also was taking too long for me, so I needed to be more like a little creative in other areas, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna join this band. No problem. I can do both, you know. But that also took a lot of work. Perfect Storm, you know.
So I listened to the album. I was actually also, again, kind of surprised. I really liked the music. It reminded me of some of the projects for Ronnie Stolt, the Swedish guitar player. Some stuff from Transatlantic a bit. Some stuff from Kaipa, if anyone knows the band. A lot of old influence and modern influence. And going from light to heavier. I really enjoyed it. But besides my opinion as one guy listening to the album, I also went to some of the reviews, read, you know, different kind of opinions. It's getting a lot of great reviews as an album. It's getting a lot of attention from like, you know, platforms like Prog Archive, if anybody knows the platform. It has, I think, so far, I don't know how many, maybe 200, 300, 4 to 5 stars rating. It's one of those recommended classics that early. Like, it's been released a month ago, right?
I guess so, yeah.
January. It's already gaining big traction. It's a really good album. But I'm going to stop talking. I'm just going to play the track, part of the track, for the people to know what I'm talking about. And then we'll see what we have to add to that.
All around the skies, for the shadows are fed to moon together alone. Too far to stay or follow forever. Forgot to be real, see what, hear what's there to say, to ever become, hold on, stay until. Moving momentum, touching hands for this chance to become the reflection, rejection of mind, all around mirror blind, for the shadows that stare to grow together alone. Too far to stay
Okay. So that wasn't your voice at the end, right?
No, that was the other vocalist that we have in the band.
Yeah. So there are two vocalists on this album.
Yeah.
And you kind of complement. You each take his own part. At some points, you're in the forefront. In some other parts, like here, she's in the front of the track, right?
Yeah, yeah. But mostly, I am the lead vocalist. You know, she comes in at least on this album. She comes in more. You know.
Did you just say on this album, or you meant on this track?
Sorry, at least on this track, she comes in more.
I just commented just in case there's another album on the way already.
Oh, we already started. We already started composing the next.
Okay, album. I see. I would love to hear some of that when it's ready to review it.
Yeah. Oh, you will. I will send it to you, but I'm not sure when that's going to be because that first album took 4 years to make. So, but I think it should be faster now because the process has been done, you know. So, it should be not so long. Everyone is ready in the band to make music. But yeah, so that's Perfect Storm. Listen, I hope you like it. Listen to the whole album. I think it's a really nice, chill record. Sometimes not so chill. It's a bit aggressive, but. Mostly, to me, this is like easy listening prog, yeah, which I really like times.
It's not as tense or intensive as AMBROTYPE, for example.
No,
right?
AMBROTYPE is more like a kind of seizure, hypnotic seizure music. You know.
Okay.
But it is the new AMBROTYPE is it's accessible.
Yeah,
but then you will fall into the black hole after that.
And where does DEREV sit in this bouquet?
Also more I feel like more easy listening, you know, but on a darker level, I would say, you know, more easy listening than the others. But AMBROTYPE is not an easy listen. It's more like a meditation. You have to sit through it, a journey. You cannot expect you have to expect that you are going to feel a lot of things, you know. But I don't think you're going to expect to feel something that you would feel when you listen to, I don't know, any pop song or whatever, or like it's going to be something that you really need to dive into with your whole being, you know.
I see.
Yeah, I'm talking a lot about it, but you should hear it. Like you will tell me the same.
Okay.
I'm really like eager to put it out. You know, it's been like I've been working on it for I don't know 5 years or something.
Yeah.
And
it's almost ready. Almost ready.
Almost ready. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now after like now after I record the guitars and the vocals and everything, Joda's gonna come in. He's gonna be like on the like backing vocals also with me, and he's gonna record his solos because he's the lead guitar player in the band. We're gonna record together some electrics, do some production things for that.
Okay.
And then it's ready. I'm gonna do the mixing myself for this record. I've been learning throughout these 5 years constantly about mixing, about production, about all those things. So I feel like I've gotten on a level where I'm comfortable to kind of take a shot at it, you know?
So for those who want to listen to the first AMBROTYPE album and who want to listen to Perfect Storm on No Air album, they are already in the comments, the Spotify links, if they want to check what has already been released. And we will also, whenever there is something released under the name AMBROTYPE, under the name Perfect Storm, under the name DEREV, we're gonna follow on that, and we're gonna try to share the videos, the links as often as possible. And maybe we'll try to get maybe an interview with the Perfect Storm. Anyone from the band who would like to, have a chat with us, talk about the music from that side, So far, with every interview we have, we get to know new musicians, new bands, and we get to see that things are always connected. So I talked to Amadeus. You've been on his path, We talked to some other people that have been on the path of Rawad. The next guest we will have for the next week, the next guest of next week, will be again connected to you somehow, to other people that have been also our guests. So even in other countries, somehow there's always some connection somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
For
World
people
is
to
small.
check. We have a comment from Michel Karakash DEREV, and maybe you can explain if you want. He says Adel is the GOAT.
No idea.
Okay.
I have no idea.
It's all in capital, so GOAT, G-O-A-T.
I have no idea, man. But I saw.
Yeah.
I mean, we're always joking around and calling him names, but
Okay.
probably because of my goatee. I don't know. I don't have a goatee, but sure, Ashnunus.
Okay.
His name is Ashnunus, but I saw Aram Kalutsian. He commented.
Yeah.
And I completely forgot to mention that he's like one of the best freaking drummers in Syria. You know,
I guess you have to mention he's part of the Hourglass project. He
yeah,
recorded
yeah,
all
and,
the
and
albums.
also there's
Nuclear
Ascendant.
Dawn
Yeah,
and Ascending in Dubai, right? That was later.
Ascendant
also
in Dubai, yeah, Ascendant.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I bought my first guitar from him and my second guitar, both
Okay.
from him. He had a shop in Aleppo. It was
Yeah.
called La Guitarra, and that was like the first definition of candy store for me. Like I used to go there, just like
Yeah.
listen to him talk and like watch the guitars and like drool over.
Collect
his
some pics and run away.
Yeah, drool all over his shop and go.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah, I really loved that. Really loved those times.
Yeah, so there are a lot of people, right, still producing music. They have moved to other countries. I don't know in which country Aram is at the moment.
He's in Dubai, I think.
He's in Dubai, right? Rawad is in Syria still, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll get to talk to him soon.
Yeah, he was in Lebanon for a while, but then moved, I think he moved back to Syria.
From DEREV, we didn't mention, so Mikael was also in Syria, right, Michel?
Misho, he was in Syria, he was in Kuwait, and then he
left. So everyone is on the journey, right? What's the deal with the musicians and that never-ending journey, moving to a country to another to another?
Well, we need to go somewhere to find good opportunities, like you cannot. I'm sorry, I love Syria, but and I love the Middle East, but it is a kind of, I don't know. Sometimes it will trap your ability to make good music. Either it's not for everyone. It's for people who are not feeling good in there. For example, people who are constantly running away, who are constantly needing to move and be unsettled. I'm not talking about people who are like, for example, Bassem Davis. He's settled there. He knows this is his country. He has his the ability and the state and frame of mind to say, okay, I'm chill here. I can make everything that I want. I have my connections. I've been building all my life my network, and everyone knows me here around and stuff like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the people who, especially Syrians, who have to move around a lot, who cannot be in Syria, and if they are in Syria, it will be not good for them. I mean, it would be better off for them to be outside.
Yeah.
There are no facilities available in Syria to make amazing music, unless you want to pay shitloads of mountains of money, but otherwise not really, not that I've heard of, at least. Internet is shitty. You can't download any tutorials. So like, it's a struggle, I think, for Syrian musicians, but there's still a lot of good ones. A lot of good ones. Just like Aram, just like he came about to be. He came out of these amazing skills that he has. Samir Baghdo, or many other musicians that are there. Tariq Faham is a jazzist. Very old, like now he's 70 years old, I think. But he's like also one of the best drummers.
If you have any videos, if you could share them in the comments later, just to introduce the people to all of those musicians you mentioned, whatever interesting, videos or records you have of their music, so the people can look in the comments and maybe discover something new, right? Get introduced to those old people making the jazz and maybe a long old jazz music, and the new stuff that's sometimes underground. It's not so accessible. You don't find it on Spotify. hidden videos on YouTube. So I spent days and days searching, and I always come up, find surprising music and find things I never heard of, but they're still amazing. And what we try to do here in our conversation is first introduce the people to you and what you're doing. But at the same time, during our conversation, we have mentioned a lot of different bands, either international that I guess anyone should know by now, like Opeth. I guess most people do know Opeth by now. Of course, everyone will tell you metal is Metallica, right? But of course, when you say Leprous, it's surprising to know that many people don't know Leprous. They love prog music, but they don't know Leprous. Of course, Zoen, although it might be a big band, it's still kind of an underground big band. That's something kind of a new definition for prog bands to be a big underground band.
Yeah.
So we got to mention a lot of the musicians. Whenever you have another name to throw in, tell us more, add to the comments, introduce us to more of the people, maybe people we should talk to in the next episodes. People we should have conversations with. I already have in my list a lot of people, as I mentioned already, including Rawad Abdel Masih, at least, including maybe I would love to have Aram on one of the episodes to talk more about drums and tech drums and bring the sticks and talk about the sticks a lot. I've talked a lot about guitars so far, but of course drums deserve their own episode too. And I wanted to talk a bit more about vocals with you at the end of our conversation. So I'll leave this ending section to talk about vocals. Tell me a bit more, because you just jumped into 3 projects that are not the same vocal requirement, the same vocal style. How do you switch to a different vocal style? How do you adapt to the requirements of each band?
I don't. Just practice a lot, I think. Just sing a lot, and whatever. In the end, you're you. If the band wants you in the band, they shouldn't expect you to sound like I don't know, Selena Gomez or something. They should have your sound. And that's the thing I learned when I'm looking for a drummer, is that you have certain drummers, they're playing, I'm like, okay, he's playing something difficult, but maybe he can play that because he plays this. No. This is the drummer. What you see is what you get. And same thing with the vocalists. You cannot expect him to be totally different world for you
to expand.
I can try as much as possible, and I like that. But also some bands, they don't like it. They only they have a vision, which I totally respect, and that should be the case because it's their song, whether it was DEREV or Perfect Storm. And I'm coming there, I'm giving it my soul, my touch, but at the same time I have to take into account their vision, which is really important, because they have to connect with the song, and that's something that you really have to learn, to step over yourself always. But I do sing, I do sing Arabic. We're doing, for example, with Jodat, the guitar player in my band, we're doing a song that is it's called Beirut, Li Beirut. It's going to be called, actually it is an Arabic song, but we're going to make it like kind of a metal jazzy thing, if you know what I mean. Not metal, I don't know, rock, let's say 70s kind of rock, jazzy, proggy thing. So that's one other thing I'm going to be singing in Arabic soon, I guess. But in AMBROTYPE, the coming AMBROTYPE, is that the thing is I've used a lot of techniques in my singing, way more than I've used in Perfect Storm or in DEREV. It's just because I have the freedom to do whatever the hell I want to do.
Yeah, it's your thing.
It is my canvas.
Yeah.
So and that is the beautiful thing to me about it, is that I can feel more free to do more weird stuff, and then I come up with new techniques, if you know what I mean.
So you're not gonna leave the growls, I guess.
No. There is growls on the next album. There is growls, but not much. There's weirder sounds than growls.
Okay.
There is normal singing, beautiful, like soft, and from really soft to really explosive to everything in between. Growls, certain kinds of mouth sounds that you make that you didn't know you can make.
Okay, I see. So it should be like a very diverse, very intense, very I would say is colorful in many ways, like going from the white to the dark to the black.
Yeah.
It's called, right? It's called Colors of Darkness. So there will be different colors along the way.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
As I was composing the songs, I also saw, like with each song, I associated a color in my head.
I see.
Every time I heard it.
Oh.
But I can see it in my head.
Yeah.
But I can't describe it.
I see.
I can barely describe it. Okay, this is kind of bluish, but I can't really describe what kind of blue it is. But so things like that. It's really weird. It's really
do you know about this real confirmed medical case? It's not a bad medical case. It's just a strange medical case where people eat ice cream and they see orange, like they associate the taste with the color.
Yeah. I also it happens for music also.
Of course. But the common known example is the ice cream one. So you do have that kind of an effect, right? You hear the sound and you see color associated with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, but most of them seems to be of darkness, sitting, but and the colors of darkness. So they're red with the shade of black, blue with the shade of black, right?
I don't know. Okay. It doesn't have to be black, but
okay.
There is something weird going on. I can tell you that. There's something I don't know what it is. I can't put a finger on it, but it's there. Okay. It's like it's looking at you.
So to summarize, DEREV April EP will be out. There will be a video out before that. Perfect Storm. Well, you slipped and said that there is a video coming.
Yeah.
AMBROTYPE, the album is almost ready, but nothing is scheduled, right? For us to
I don't want to schedule anything because and I don't want to be present on Facebook so much because why am I busy being present on Facebook rather than being busy
making music?
Finishing the album. So I just went under the radar, to kind of just be in my life, study. And work and kind of finish the album, actually finish it so I can get started.
Do you plan to make a video this time?
I hope so. Many. Okay. I've actually started learning video making to make videos for AMBROTYPE.
Okay.
I've got a little nice camera and stuff like that, so I can
working on it. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you plan to release any Opeth cover again soon?
Well, I released that one, and that was like a test for my camera and my video making skills.
Yeah, so the intention was just testing the camera, not the track itself.
No, I was like, okay, I need to make.
So if I send you a new camera, would you test it?
For sure. It depends on how good it is.
Okay. What if
I'll test it all day long.
Okay, so I'm gonna go online and put a regular order of a camera every week to your address.
No, but the problem is why I stopped making the covers is that indeed I was like, okay, I can spend that time that I'm making this cover song, actually working on my album and finishing that, so that kind of became my priority more and more, than anything else. So I kind of I got a little bit of a shell on it.
I see. So we've reached the end of our conversation. I always have more questions, but I think we covered most of the story. I am sure we jumped over some of the important subjects.
How long has this been?
I didn't look, but it's about 2 hours, 40 minutes, 40 something.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So this is the long version, and this is always up to you. If you have more to share, more to discuss, I'm here.
I'm good.
But from my program, from my list of subjects to discuss, I've covered all of them, most of them. We did skip on, well, we jumped forward on the one thing on the topic of the Turkish track.
Yeah.
I talked about it. There was just a small thing to maybe just mention briefly now, that you were part of a musical in Netherlands called No Refugee, and there is like some videos, some YouTube tracks, and some performances on stage there the people can check online. It was also kind of a rock musical, so it's kind of nice, not bad. If people are into that, they might enjoy it, right?
It was pretty nice. Good times. I was like in such a horrible state of mind, almost going psychotic.
And that was helpful, right?
It was really helpful to me. And the people who organized that, they're really amazing people. Lars and Nicole, they are awesome. And they are still really good friends of mine. And but we worked so hard on it, like it was like 50 people involved, and then like a small string quartet and a rock band. That was like the kind of essence of it. And then we just did like 3 concerts in a hall, in a like an actual theater, and that was it. That was that. Up until that point, we just practiced, did it, and then came forward. So they're still working on new stuff.
You'll be involved?
No, not necessarily. No,
not for now. Okay, so at the end of this, I still have one question, actually 2. Are you gonna get involved with another project soon and have an album released next week?
Well, I had someone approach me to do like kind of a funky Arab track, but I don't. But the problem is I couldn't find the time to do that, so I don't think I'm gonna be involved in any track, anything at all. Until I at least get the AMBROTYPE out of the way. I really need to spit the hell out of it out. Because I need to spit it out. Like just there you go. I don't want to listen to it anymore. I've listened to it 6 million times. Really, literally 6 million times. But
so now it's pedal to the metal, just going with AMBROTYPE, getting that done, finalized, and out there. You're gonna try to get maybe signed label, whatever support, or you're just going solo on this?
No, I don't know. If a good deal comes, but I'm never gonna let a label own those songs, because those are like the best songs I've ever written, and I don't think I'll write anything like that ever in my whole life. Not that there's something better than anything, but
for you, in your own perspective, this is your best work.
And up until this point, but it's also really meaningful to me because it happened. Every song has a lot of has a different meaning. Every song came with a very traumatic experience. Every single one of them. Was the kind of the process of healing. So they mean the world to me, those songs, and that's why I'm holding off so much. I'm re-recording guitars. I recorded 4 songs, and now I trashed everything. I'm recording guitars all over again because they mean so much to me. So I want to present them in the best possible way. I will not accept anything other than the best quality there is, other than Opeth quality. If you know what I mean. If you know what I mean. So
it reminded me of the album B by Pain of Salvation. It was written and then it took 6 years for it to be released, because they just kept changing, adjusting, perfecting, adjusting, and then that's not the time for it. Let's release another album and then come back to it. And they just kept kind of pushing that until it was like the band felt now it's the time for it. And it seems like for you now it's the time for it, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I see. So that is my final question on this. I'll leave it to you. Do you have something to say to the people listening, something to say to the people who will be watching this now, 5 years later, and maybe 10 years later? Where do you think you'll be in 10 years, and what would you like to tell the people watching this now and later?
Well, I'll be definitely playing guitar, making music, and singing.
No doubt.
I don't know. I don't care where I'll be. All I care about is where I am right now, and on that I'm happy. You also should do the same, all of you. And I don't have anything else to say. Just I love you.
Okay, all the love then.
Yes.
Okay, so for this, we've reached the end of our conversation, talking music today with you, Adel. Thank you for your time. Thank you for this nice conversation.
Thank you.
I hope everyone listening have kind of, catched up with your story, learned a bit about the journey of how do you go through different countries, how do you take your music with you, and how to keep pushing to get what's inside you out as in the music form with lyrics and the sound. Thank you, everyone listening to us this evening. We'll hope to talk to you soon again, maybe Adel, and we'll share all the updates on your music. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.